Alright guys, I'd already started videoing number 14 and the video got really weird, so I started over. I just want to make sure. Okay. So 2x squared plus 8x plus 22. I said A is 2, B is 8, and C is 22. So I started filling it out. X equals negative B, so negative 8, plus and minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C, all over 2 times A. So what I see first off is that I've got x equals this long expression, and what I don't have is divided by 4, which, now I understand if you're talking, or if you're just working things out in your head, and you're eventually going to do that, but with that equal sign, when you said x equals this and that equals that, that's wrong, okay? So you can't say these two expressions are equivalent because they're not. And I caution you on leaving this out, because a lot of people, they just start working it out and they completely leave this off and they just think they're going to remember, but a lot of times they don't. So it needs to have this portion right here. So I'm going to go ahead and address that in step 1. Okay. In step 1, the student forgot to write or to divide the whole expression by 2a, and in this case 2a is 4. Okay, so let's go on. I'm going to go ahead and simplify inside the radical, the discriminant. So 64, or 8 squared, minus 4 times 2 times 22, and I get negative 112, which is what they get, so that's not wrong. Negative 8 plus and minus the square root of negative 112, all divided by 4. Okay. So I have no problems with step 2. Now going from step 2 to step 3, what I notice is that I'm going to try and simplify the negative square root of the square root of negative 112 before I divide by 2, or divide by 4. But what I notice is that they went from negative 8 divided by, or negative 8 plus and minus that divided by 4 to negative 2 plus that, and the 4 is gone. Okay? So to me what happened is they divided negative 8 by 4, and it just went away, so they kind of ignored the fact that the square root of negative 112 is still divided by 4. Even if you divide out the 8 and the 4, that's still divided by 4. It doesn't just disappear. So, in step 3, they simplified negative 8 divided by 4 and ignored the fact that the square root of a negative 112 is also divided by 4. Now, as far as what they should do, which you don't have to explain, they should simplify the radical before trying to divide. And that is true. I mean, they should definitely do that. But it doesn't address the fact that that is wrong. You cannot just divide one of these terms by that and call it good. If I said negative 8 plus 16 divided by 4, and you said, oh, well, that simplifies, it's negative 2 plus 16, which is 14, I would say you're wrong, because negative 8 plus 16 is 8, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. Okay, and they are not the same thing. You cannot do that. Okay. So that takes care of that mistake. But now that they've made that mistake, let's go on. So they divided that by that to get that. Okay. On the next step, it seems like they did Negative 112 is 4 root 28. So I'm going to see what I can do with 112. And I'm going to figure out why they did 4 times 28. So 112 divided by 4 is 28. Okay, so it looks like, well, first off, there's a negative right there, which means there should be an I. Okay, so they kind of dropped the negative and just forgot to put the I, which happens a lot. Okay, you guys start simplifying and then you forget that. But then they also wrote that that right there is 4 root 28, and the square root of 112 is the square root of 4 times 28. I'm going to go ahead and address that so I can, and we'll do it correctly in just a minute. When trying to simplify the square root of negative 112, they dropped the negative and forgot I, and they said the square root of 112 equals 4 square roots of 28, but the square root of 112 equals the square root of 4 times 28, which equals 2 square roots of 28. Which is still not fully simplified. Okay, so I know that 28 is also divided by 4, so divisible by 4. So what I would always do is say 112 divided by, and remember I'd say start at the largest. So 112 is between 100 and 121. It does not divide by 100. It does not divide by 81. It does not divide by 64. If you're not sure, then try it. Oop, I just said that. Yes, in the tray. 64. It's not. I mean, we already know it's 16, but what I'm just saying is I just want you to try it. If you're unsure, you might try 49. It's not. You might try 36. It's not. 25, no. 16, yes. 16 and 7. So, this right here is negative 8 plus and minus the square root of. Now, if you want to go ahead and put, make that positive and put the I on the outside, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and write negative 16 times 7 divided by 4. So I've got negative 8 plus and minus. The square root of negative 16 is 4i. I'm going to put the 4 in the front, the 7 inside the square root, and the I in the end divided by 4. I'll go ahead and simplify down to my final answer. 8, 4, and 4 I'll divide by 4. So I've got negative 2 plus and minus. Divided by 4, I've got 1. The square root of 7i all divided by 1, which means that is my final answer. We'll see ya. And okay, so I've finished the correct work. So let me keep reading with them and see what mistakes I can still find. So we address both the 4 root 28 and the I, and so let's see what final answer. So it looks like final answer. They said 2 square roots of 28, negative 6 square roots of 28, which, like, trying to think about where did they get those numbers. I see that I've got negative 2 plus 4 and negative 2 minus 4. And it looks pretty obvious that you don't do that, but you know, you're taking a test and you're not really thinking. Sometimes people do combine those numbers, and they do not combine. Okay, so here's what happened. They said negative 2 plus 4 is 2, and they said negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6, and they combine them. But they can't do that because one of them has a square root and one of them does not. So in step 5, the student combined. You good? Okay. Combined the negative 2 with the 4 in front of the square root of 28, which is not possible. I would say these are not like terms. Now, if you're unsure of how to explain that, you can say something like, negative 2 plus 4 is fine too. But negative 2 plus 4 square roots of 28 is just negative 2 plus 4 square roots of 28. Furthermore, if you think about it like this, if I had negative 2 square roots of 28 plus 4 square roots of 28, I mean, think about that number that's being tacked on as like an x, negative 2x plus 4x. Negative 2 of those plus 4 of those is 2 of those, right? So there I could say it is a positive 2 square roots of 28. But like I said, these are not like terms. One has a square root of 28 and one does not. So they're not like terms. Okay? And I think that's good. So there you go.